For the coaching tip of the week this week, would you like me to go into a deep one or a not as deep one? Sort of a
Yes.
Yes.
Deep.
Which one?
Deep.
You want to go deep? All right. I was struggling with what I was going to do for the coaching tip of the week. I had a nice, easy one to share with you, but then as I was sitting there in stillness, a deeper one presented itself to me. So I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and we were talking about the coffee cup exercise, or the distinction of whatever you can identify or label cannot be you, right? The act of identifying it, observer or observing this thing. If I look at my cup, I have my cup. If I can see the cup, therefore I cannot be the cup. Okay? Same thing goes if we bring that level of attention inward. If you begin to look at your thoughts and your feelings, if you can identify your thoughts and or your feelings, the act of identifying them means it simply can't be you. You cannot be the label. Okay, does that make sense? Cool. So my client asked me, well, then Ken, if I am not what I can identify, then who am I? And I was like, ooh, that's a very interesting rabbit hole you want to go down. That could be a really deep rabbit hole. I'm like, do you really want to go down that particular rabbit hole? And he said, why, yes, I do. And I said, well, there are two splits we can take. We can take the split that I am, as in the burning bush with Moses, etc. I am that I am. And if you say I am this or I am that, if you begin to identify, you are creating a lie or a distortion. So I am that I am that was, always will be, ever was, and the eternal now concept. Now I was saying, well, does that serve you? Does that serve you in the space of the I am that I am? It could, especially if you're a cult leader or you're running a organization somewhere where you are the I amness. And I said, or there's another tact. You can be, who are you? Is that who you are is who you declare yourself to be, right? It's in the declaration of who you declare yourself to be, and then you go about the practice, right? I am kind, I am virtuous, I am honest, compassionate. You can create a whole litany of things that you can be and that you can practice. And I said, the choice is really yours, but ultimately it comes down which one serves you better, an identity by design or an identity that transcends identity, which is I am that I am. It all becomes a practice. But in a very wise moment, he said, well, Ken, even if I go to this place of I am who I declare myself to be, anything that I can label cannot be me. And I said, that is correct as well. Right? It's the idea of simply having a practice. Like, where do you want your attention to go to by design? And what will ultimately serve you in the long run? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think what's always fun is who you is who you declare yourself to be. You are a practice, if you will. Right. And when we structure it that way, I think it gives people something easier that they can hold on to or literally practice. Okay, if that makes sense. Right, like a Ben Franklin thing, you can literally write down a compassionate. Okay, what were your examples of being compassionate today? And then you literally create an evidence list in your book that you can go back to years from now, months from now, days from now, to reflect on these things. And now you have evidence of these particular traits. And the more attention you give to the evidence, the more and more you become that trait. Clear? Comments, questions, epiphanies?
Well, I think that's why that vision exercise we have people do, purpose, is so important, because that's where you really begin to declare who it is you want to be.
Correct.
So that you begin to design that.
Right, and then becomes the practice of, and that I think that's where all the value is in the practice, is in the awareness of the outcome, and then practicing towards it. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. I had two books kind of popped in. Well, two books kind of popped in my mind when you were saying that. One was Michael Singer, where his. I think if I remember right, part of his answer was basically we are consciousness. If you break away all the different aspects of that question of who am I, he kind of comes down to we are just awareness and consciousness. And we kind of can decide what to do with that. That was one thought. The other one, I go back to the Bible. In the beginning was the Word. Like, we speak who we are into existence. Everything is spoken first through the Word into what we want to bring into existence. So I would kind of parallel those two ideas with that question.
Yeah,
I like it. I
What
like it. Say that again, Rick.
that Michael Singer wrote?
Oh, that's what's the first one again? The
Untethered
Untethered
Soul.
Soul.
the
Yeah.
untethered soul. Yeah,
Yeah, Untethered Soul. All of his stuff is really good.
The
and
other
then living
living.
untethered.
That's what I just read. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And the more surface coaching tip, I'll give it anyway, is be mindful of the input, right? Be mindful of the input, and is the input serving you? Because either fortunately, no, it's unfortunately, I watched the debates last night, or the debate, and then I woke up this morning thinking about it, and I'm like, why am I thinking about it? Why am I thinking about it? Why did I give it attention in the first place? And it's resonating. As compared to, I was also studying up on evolutionary biology, which would probably be much more beneficial to all of us if I was thinking about evolutionary biology as compared to Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. So just be mindful of the input, and does the input serve you the next day, the next week, the next month? So that was my surface coaching tip.
Yeah. What are you feeding? What are you deciding to feed?
Well, what am I deciding to feed, or what is running around in my head?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you decided to watch the debate, so then that's you feed debate talk, or feed,
Yes,
you know.
yes, I should have not watched. In hindsight, I should have not watched the debate.
I think the
Right?
world is dumber this morning.
Yeah, I would second that. I would say not only is the world dumber, I am dumber this morning because of it. But watch your inputs, and do they serve you? All right. What else going on in the world out there?
I'm gonna